Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta, no matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Another great show. Our podcaster of the week is on deck. So, squaddies, let's rock and roll. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Hello, everyone. Some of you might be a little bit mad at me, but you can blame me. I had to make a slight scheduling change, which is why we are live now and not in 2 hours' time. So for those of you listening on replay, thank you for joining. And to the squaddies who've made it into live chat, at ease, welcome to the show. And more importantly, welcome to the show, our very special guest, our podcaster of the week. I'm really looking forward to this one because I gave him some homework to do. Mr. Harry Symeou.
How's it going? So thanks for having me. And I can't let you take the flak for the time change. Come on. It was my fault. It was my fault. Typical Greek, doesn't know what he's doing. Needs everybody to sort his life out for him. But hey, we're here, really looking forward to it. You did give me some homework as well. It's funny because the kind of Arsenal SWOT analysis bit, I flew through that. But then you started asking me all sorts of questions. And I thought, hold on a minute. This is not stuff I'm used to talking about. So that bit took me a bit longer, I've got to say.
I love it. And the bit that Harry's talking about is, as you guys know on Podcaster of the Week, at the end, we do a little quick fire bit where we get to know our podcasters that little bit better. So you'll get to find out what Harry's pet peeves are in just a little bit. But before we do that, I did ask him. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I'm not a SWAT. But I tell you something, Harry, when I was in the corporate world and when we used to kind of like look at film properties, TV properties, my favorite part was when we got to do the SWOT analysis. I absolutely love doing this. And for any brand I worked on, it's a fantastic exercise to really dig into the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of a team today. And as I said, like intellectual properties, brands, etc. Did you ever do a SWOT analysis when you were in the banking world, Harry?
Yeah, a lot. And I did one recently as well with the company that I worked for during the Euros, looking at the kind of coverage that we provided of the tournament as well. So I literally done one about a week ago. So when you said this, I thought, great, I'm going to look really smart here because I know what we're doing.
I love it. And please do listen to our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels, who's in the house. Hit the like. And Carol's here. PW's here. And Steve's here. Ian's here. The whole fam jam is here. Crosh Jonky, one of my favorite screen names, by the way. Martin is here. So thanks for joining, everyone who has been able to make it. Harry, let's get stuck into this. Let's start off with strengths.
So the things I wrote down for strengths were the first point I made was stability. We've got a manager that we know is fully invested in our project. I know that people will say, well, why hasn't he signed a new contract then? I'm not worried in the slightest about Mikel Arteta's future. I think he's committed to Arsenal. Arsenal are committed to him. They've shown that in the way that they've backed him and supported him in recent years. And I think that's all going to be sorted in good time. So not worried about that at all. So stability was the first word that I wrote down. Unity. It feels like the club are together in every sense of the word these days. Like, you know, the fans give off a much better vibe these days. The atmosphere inside the stadium is 10 times better than it was if you rewind things 5-6 years ago. You know, so that unity, I think, helps us. I think it helps us get through difficult moments when maybe we're up against it a little bit in match situations. But it also helps us in terms of giving the boys that extra bit of motivation they need. It's why we've scored so many late goals. It's why we've come back so many times and sort of managed to get over the line when we've needed to, at least in sort of individual games. We haven't quite got there in terms of winning the title yet, but I'm sure that will come. I also put the quality of the squad. I feel like during a summer window, Sophie, it's really easy to obsess about what you haven't got and what you want in terms of in the transfer market without really thinking about what you have at your disposal already. You know, we've got the best centre-back pairing in Europe, in my opinion, right now. We've got Ben White at right back, who's incredible. You move into the midfield, Declan Rice, £105 million player. And we were singing last season, we need to pay West Ham a bit more because we feel like we robbed them even at that price. Martin Odegaard's unbelievable. We've got our star boy, Bukayo Saka. Kai Havertz has come into his own. And then we've added to that in Ricardo Calafiori, bolstering the squad, bolstering our options. I just think we've got such a strong squad at the moment. And it's really easy during the summer window, as I say, to look at it and go, well, we need X and we need Y, and maybe overlook what you actually have. And yeah, I put strong squad and I put strong core, which is the middle of the team for me, the center of it, the Saliba Gabriel pairing, Rice and Odegaard as the two mainstay midfielders. Not sure if Partey is going to be available all season, so I'm reluctant to put his name in there. But then you look up top, you've got Havertz, who, whether he plays as an attacking midfielder or as a forward, just seems to be really useful at the moment in so many different ways. And then you've got, your Saka, you've got your solid goalkeeper as well. So those were the things I put: stability, unity, a strong core, and a top quality squad. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I completely concur with you. And I especially, when you kind of look at the strengths, and one of the things that you said that was very poignant is, it's one of those, be careful what you do. We have some good stuff, and you're right. Fans want more, and sometimes you don't appreciate what you have. It's almost like what is the new shiny toy? What can we play with, this season? And I think it's a testament to the squad that's been built that Mikel Arteta doesn't believe he needs that many pieces. He just needs the right pieces. So I completely concur with you. And you brought up some really interesting things, and I wanted to show you this, and you can get a quick comment in whether it's on your weaknesses or in your strengths. But this was Tom's defense. I asked him how he would start the season if the game was today. And obviously, Jurriën Timber, we didn't know that at the time, but he picked this back line. He picked this as his midfield, and he picked this as his attack. And when you mentioned that, it got me thinking, because I put this together for you as well. Tom picked this, but we also have this. Now, Tomiyasu's injury prone, Zinchenko's injury prone. People can say what they want about Zinchenko. Scored a banger of a goal last night. Tierney is a broken kind of player. Is Kivior staying or going? But you still have all of this depth. The area where I felt, and then if I show you the attack, you have these players. I didn't even put up the Lewis Skellies and the Waneris, and if they're going to get a chance, Harry. And then this was kind of like, I ran out of pictures, right? But when you look at all those other images and the players that are on deck, there is kind of a deep squad, but almost, we're not like for like yet, but we're definitely stronger than we ever used to be.
Yeah, for sure. And we always talk about Mikel Arteta's kind of preferences when he goes after players. And one of the things we always talk about is versatility, right? So it might not always be the biggest number of players on paper. Like when you write a list, it might not look that big. But when you think about someone like Timber, who can play centre back, right back, and left back, and Tomiyasu, who can play centre back, right back, and left back, and then Kivior, who came in as a centre back, and I still think is predominantly that, but can play left back as well. You think about the versatility that we have within the group, and we've got most bases covered. And that's what's really encouraging about this group. I would love to see Partey fit and ready to start the new season, but watching him in pre-season, I'm not sure that he's there, just in response to the team that Tom picked. I also think there's a good chance that Mikel Arteta starts with Jesus in attack, and that Kai Havertz is maybe used in the midfield. If there's a worry about Partey, maybe you see Rice drop into the 6 for the start of the season. We know he can do that. And then you have Odegaard and Havertz, because for me, Arteta's been speaking so glowingly about Gabriel Jesus. He keeps talking about the fact that there's something different there, that he's changed the way he approaches things. And I think that combination between him and Havertz looks really good. There's a real understanding for him in there. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff. I just can't wait for the season to start now.
I know, right? This was Tom's midfield. He didn't have Partey in it. But what I'm saying is you've got these two as backup, and that seems to be where, and well, let's get onto it. What are your weaknesses?
My weakness is I've put there's still question marks about the left-hand side. And the reason is because I think last season we struggled to have that same fluidity down the left that we had down the right. We also struggled for the defensive solidity down that side. And that's a lot to do with the fact that we kept changing who was playing there. We went through how many different left backs, Zinchenko, Kivior, Tomiyasu. Had Timber been available, we know he would have played there as well. So that's at least 4 options that we went into the season with. And then the left 8 role kept changing. Sometimes it was Kai Havertz. Sometimes it was Declan Rice. There was a couple of games where it was Emile Smith-Rowe. And I felt like that lack of continuity on that left-hand side, including on the wide position as well, because sometimes it was Martinelli, sometimes it was Trossard. And without having that relationship that we have on the right-hand side where everybody knows where everybody's going to be, that we had the season prior with Xhaka playing left 8, Zinchenko at left back, and then obviously Martinelli, I think that's a problem. And I think we need to settle on what our best left side looks like. And we need to give them the opportunity to develop that relationship. In terms of other weaknesses, I put the disappointment of the last 2 seasons. Is there a danger that Arsenal want it too much? Is there a danger that those disappointments end up becoming almost a bit of an obsession? And I know you kind of need that drive and you need something to keep you going and willing, but do you get to a point where the nerves kick in because of the desperation to go on and do something? And I think the fact that we've missed out twice the way we have, particularly last season on the final day, that kind of psyche can creep in of, can we ever beat this City side? And that I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't want us to get to that stage deep into the season where we're looking over at City's results every week and they're constantly winning. And you're going, I mean, look at the level we're performing at and we still aren't there. So I worry about that. That's a potential weakness for me.
That's a really interesting point because David Hillier was talking about how he thinks a 3rd season is a big ask. You go close one season where no one was really thinking you were going to go close, Harry. Then in the 2nd season, people fancied you and you fancied yourself, and you could see like the belief in the squad was unreal. But he said a 3rd season without winning is really difficult and mentally, And it's funny because I was talking to Jamie and Carlton on the sports bar last night, and I said where I think we'll win and lose this title is mentally. Are we going to be able to get there? Because when you look at how we've evolved, you look at how many, everyone keeps talking about a striker, but look how many goals we've scored. Everyone's talking about, we're a bit weak in defense and whatever, but we had the best defense. When you also look at the fact that we got 4 points off City, 4 points off Liverpool, and we still didn't win it. Yeah. And it's those margins against teams like West Ham and Fulham and Aston Villa, isn't it? So yeah, David Hillier so it's a really great observation because he thinks too that it's going to be a lot tougher than people think.
Yeah, it will be tough. You're up against arguably the greatest Premier League side of all time. The points tallies that they've been putting on the board year after year after year are incredible. Most people would make the case that Pep Guardiola, by the time he finishes his career, could go down as the greatest ever. You think about, I know they've not been found guilty yet, and we can't talk about it as if they have for various reasons, but you think about kind of what we're up against if indeed they have done what they're accused of doing, then that makes it even more special that we've managed to keep up or claw back the gap between the two sides and have it in a situation now where we're competing with them year after year.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a tough one. Okay, those are your weaknesses. So the left, the defense.
So the left side of the team. Yeah. I'm just worried that if we don't settle on what our left side is going to look like, then we could end up where it looks a little bit disjointed, like it did last season at times. And I think we need the left side to be much more consistent. We've done a lot of great work down the right-hand side. White, Saka, Odegaard, they combine brilliantly. But I think you need to get to a place where there is more cohesion down the left. And that's only going to come if you pick a left side and you stick with it. And Mikel Arteta didn't really do that last season, I didn't feel.
So let me dig a little deeper into that just for a couple of minutes with you, because Timber was deployed in a different position during the tour. We also saw him play, on that left side. Zinchenko, it seems to be more inverted than ever in the game
Yeah,
that he played last night. Calafiori, we will see. But most people, and I think you including, think that when he is played, you play him on that left side. And I'm sorry, people keep talking about, is Calafiori going to take Gabriel's position, or is he going to? Last night was just so indicative of how banging our centre back partnership is.
absolutely.
I- in just don't even touch that. So Zinchenko under fire from fans because he can't defend. Tommy injury prone, but I thought did really well when he came in when he was asked last season, and he even adopted quite well playing that inverted role a little bit. Timber, some question marks about fitness right now. Kivior kind of hasn't been favoured, Harry, much since the Bayern Munich game at home. Who would you start there?
If he was available, I'd be starting with Yuri and Timber,
Hmm.
because I think we got a glimpse sort of at the start of last season. Obviously, I know he only played 45 minutes in the Premier League before he picked up that injury, but we saw it in the Community Shield. He played on that left. He looked really comfortable, looked like he could get on the ball, make things happen. He's really, really competent on the ball, and he's a great 1v1 defender. So I don't really worry about the fact that he's on his left side. I think the problem that we had last season was Tomiyasu, when he played at left back, was great defensively, but lacked when he was asked to go into central areas and play. The same can be said of Kivior, although I think Kivior was slightly weaker defensively than Tomiyasu. The point is that none of them ticked all the boxes. And then if you played Zinchenko, you had a guy that's very competent and comfortable with the ball at his feet and drifting into those areas, but defensively left us vulnerable. I think that given who's available right now, given that he's had a slightly longer preseason than some, because obviously Ukraine didn't go particularly far in the Euros, I think that he'll start with Zinchenko. Now, if Timber and Calafiori are both unavailable, then I'm okay with that decision, because the next in line would be Tomiyasu, and he's not available either. So I don't think Arteta's got that freedom of choice and that flexibility in that left back position. Zinchenko started the game last night. I think if he starts the game on Sunday as well against Lyon, that says quite a bit, in my opinion, about Arteta's intentions for the start of the season. If it was down to me, if I had everyone available, I'd start with Timber and I'd ease Calafiori in. But
Hmm.
given who is available and what we know today, I'm going to say Zinchenko starts the season at left back.
Are you comfortable with that?
Offensively, yes. Defensively, no. If you've got the right setup around him, like if Gabriel's got that license to go left and defend for him, which he did quite a bit, over the last couple of seasons, and Saliba's going to tuck in, and Ben White's going to be a bit more reserved in going forward so that he can make it partly a back three, basically when Zinchenko steps forward. Then I think when you look at the fact that we're at home to Wolves on the opening day, and I'm not taking them lightly, but I feel like a home game against the middle of the road Premier League side is probably an opportunity to do that. Then we go to Aston Villa, don't we? And I wouldn't want to see that there. But, I don't think, as I say, I don't think we're going to have much choice at the start of the campaign.
Yeah. All right. Opportunities. This one I'm really interested to hear from you, because, a lot of the times you can't see the tree through the forest. But what opportunities do you think are there for the Gunners this season?
So we talked about not winning and what that can do to you mentally. I think there are opportunities to win outside of the Premier League. And I think that this is something that we really need to be looking at. Because I agree, if we go a third season of finishing second, performing really, really well, but still falling short to a really fantastic side, but we end up trophyless again, then people are going to start to ask questions, aren't they? And you know what's going to happen in terms of the mood changing. So I think there are opportunities for Arsenal to win outside of the Premier League. I think you've got to look at the domestic cups. I think you've got to take them more seriously. I think we could do with a bit more luck in the domestic cups in terms of the way the draws have fallen, because you get 2 or 3 good draws at the start of a Carabao Cup. All of a sudden, you're in the semi-final. The same with the FA Cup. We haven't had that in recent years. We've had some really shit FA Cup draws, haven't we? City's away, Liverpool's, things like that. So, yeah, I think the opportunity is to win in one of the cup competitions. I think the Champions League is going to be tougher this year with the new format. Not sure if I like it or not. Can't really judge it until I see it play out. But the opportunity for me is to pick up silverware in one of the cup competitions, and at least that starts the habit of winning, which is the next step we need to take.
I completely concur. I was talking about this with Potsy, and I was saying I would love the League Cup because it comes earlier in the season. And if the players can get a taste of winning the League Cup, Harry, you carry that into the next 3 months. I believe it becomes this drug that you just want to do it again and again and again. I mean, that's some of the greatest managers talk about that, the greatest players who have been perennial winners, the desire to just keep on repeating and doing the same thing becomes, a habit. And I think the League Cup, if we could nab that in February, do you agree that I would love to win the FA Cup as well? Don't get me wrong. The League Cup we haven't won in 30 years. Last time we won the League Cup, Super Kev was playing in the team. So do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I think it gives you a great platform. I think many successful sides over the years have started with a League Cup in terms of, going on these runs where they're winning multiple trophies. For sure. I just think the reason I put it as an opportunity is because I think we're so obsessed with pipping Manchester City to the post that it's really easy to forget that there are other competitions, there are other ways of winning, there are other routes you can go down to pick up silverware, which would, like, for example, if Arsenal narrowly finished second to Manchester City again, but won silverware, still a good season, isn't it? Based on sort of where we've been in past years. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I want the big one, and obviously I want, the Champions League and the Premier League. For me, the Champions League's the number one. I've never seen us win that. That's for me the number one. But, I think that at this stage where we're a young team, we're developing, we're on a journey still. And I know people hate it when you say that because they're like, well, we spent X amount of money, blah, blah, blah. But we're not at that point where we're at the top of the table yet. We're on our way, but maybe to get over the line and to get that kind of monkey off our back in terms of winning something, we're going to have to focus on one of the, I don't want to say lesser competitions because it sounds like I'm being disrespectful, but, one of the cups.
Yeah. And he hasn't won it since, he took over from Emery. Some people still believe that wasn't his team. He still had to go on and win it. I mean, yeah, I don't believe it was his team, but he still had to go on and win it. And I think it makes it a bit trickier, as bad as United were last season, the way they performed and beat Man City in that FA Cup final. I don't know. There's a niggly thing there.
Yeah.
I think that we need to take them. I don't know if he doesn't take them seriously, just needs to. And, you talk about the draw, but we've been on the road to the cup wins, beating City, beating Chelsea in the past. So it would be great to kind of reignite our cup culture and the DNA in those competitions. Right.
I don't think he feels that he's got the squad or did in the past. And that's why he maybe didn't take them that seriously. Like, I don't think he felt he could rotate, but the more we build the squad, then the less of an excuse there is. So it's going to be really interesting. Sorry to cut across you there.
No. I love that. And so do you think, real quick, that we're going to see the Waneris, the Lewis Skellys? I mean, Heaven Nichols, not sure, but do you think we'll see those players be given the opportunity, a la Wenger, in like a League Cup type competition?
Yeah, I think it will depend on the draws that we get as well. If you go to Anfield, you probably don't start them, but if you're at home to a League One side, then maybe you give them a go. And I'm certain they'll get minutes in the cup competitions. I don't know whether they'll be starters or not, but I think he's going to have to just balance things a lot better than he has done in the past. And, last year was a new challenge. He hadn't balanced it with Champions League football before. Okay, he'd had Europa League football, but you can make 5 or 6 changes in the Europa League and get away with it. You can't do that in the Champions League. So I think he adapted quite well last season to that. And, we got found out by Bayern in the end, but it was still a step forward, getting to the quarterfinal for the first time in ages. And now it's about taking that next step in that competition, but also making sure we're competitive in all the others.
Yeah, agree. Okay, what are the threats? And by the way, squaddies, the threats generally, the threats box generally means things that you can't control. So I'm curious here to see what Harry has in his threats box.
Yeah, mine are definitely things that you can't control. The first one is Manchester City. The threat that they don't drop off, the threat that they continue, the threat that they push on and sort of either surpass what they did last season or at least maintain that level, because I think that we were at such an incredible level last year. To win 16 of your last 18 and still not win the league is mad. So that's the biggest threat. But another threat that I put down, and I know I sound like a moaning Arsenal fan. I know that's what non-Arsenal fans listening to this might think. But I put down VAR and the officials, because you just don't know what you're going to get in this league from week to week. You know, we were robbed of points last season. We were robbed of a point at Newcastle, at least. I thought we should have had a point against Aston Villa when Kai Havertz's goal was ruled out at Villa Park. I think there's so many examples of moments where we were really hard done by. And 1 point here, 1 point there, it might not sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but when you're up against Manchester City and you need to gain the finest of sort of advantages, it can play a part. So, yeah, City not dropping off was my first one, and VAR / the officials was the other one.
Yeah. And I think those are the two most glaring. Do you see any threat coming from, Liverpool weren't quite ready last season. They fell towards the end. Can't say they bottled it though, Harry. Oh no, can't say that.
No.
But now they have a new manager, and I think Liverpool have actually looked really good in pre-season. We all know that means very little, but
Yep.
I feel like they're playing some cohesive stuff already, and they look very, I thought they looked very fit against us as well. Chelsea seem a mess. Tottenham are Tottenham. You've got who else? Do you see a threat coming from anyone? Man United, maybe? Can
Not
they? I mean,
not in terms of
what
the title yet. Not in terms of the title yet. Liverpool is a potential threat because they're just an unknown quantity for me under Arne Slot. I don't know what we're going to get from Liverpool. I certainly wouldn't rule them out because they've got good enough players. Manchester United, I'm just not convinced by Erik ten Hag. I never have been. And I think that they looked around and they only kept him because they realized that there was nothing really glaringly obvious in terms of a replacement out there that was going to take him up a notch. They made it out like they extended his contract. Actually, all they did was trigger the extension that was already on his previous contract, to buy themselves a bit of time. So I still think things are pretty unstable there. Not worried about Tottenham either. I actually, one of my hot takes going into the new season is that Ange Postecoglou doesn't last it. Because
is
I
that a
think
hot take? Are we taking that as a Harry hot take?
yeah, I think we can. I think if he doesn't change the way he plays a little bit, and he insists on, like, I get it at the beginning, right? You want to put your footprint on the team. You want to show everybody what you're all about. But the second half of the season, in contrast to the first, was completely different. So they're going to need to buck up their ideas a little bit. The external threats in terms of other teams, for me, the only one is Liverpool potentially. But as I say, I can't rule them out, but I also can't say with any confidence that under Arne Slot they're ready to challenge for the title.
Yeah. I'm going to make a, by the way, you can use Harry's hot take. I think that would be good for your show, HHT.
Yeah, good one. I like it.
I fancy Mo Salah to have a beastly season.
Won't be
And
surprised.
it's not just because of the haircut. I think he feels a little slighted, disrespected. I fancy him to have a big season. Okay, Harry, whiz through them so then everyone in the YouTube comments can let us know what they think too. This is Harry Symeou, our podcaster of the week, doing the Arsenal SWOT analysis. Go on, Harry.
So my strengths were the stability that we have with Mikel Arteta, the project, the players that we've had at the club for a little while, the unity within the group, but also within the fan base and the way that's all connected to the club nowadays, the strong core of players that we currently have and the quality in the squad that already exists. As I say, it's really easy, isn't it, during the summer to be obsessed by what you think you should be bringing in and forgetting maybe a little bit about the quality you have within the walls of London Colney already. Weaknesses, I put our left side, a little bit worried about a lack of cohesion on that side. We struggled with that at times last season. And I think that Mikel Arteta needs to settle on a left side in terms of his first choice team so that we can develop those relationships again. And I worry about the disappointment of last season and the season before, maybe mentally being an issue. In terms of opportunities, opportunity for me is to go out and win, not necessarily in the Premier League, though. It could be one of the other competitions, and that could start off the winning habit. And in terms of threats, things that are out of our control, City not dropping off, and VAR / the officials. You could probably throw injuries into that as well, because you can't really control that, as much as you'd like. So yeah, that's my SWOT analysis.
Okay, let us know what you think in the YouTube comments. Join in and have your say here on the Highbury Squad. Okay, as part of Podcaster of the Week, we also get to know our YouTubers, podcasters a little bit more. All of the time, they're talking about Arsenal continually for you guys. So we did episode 1 with Lee Judges. His pet peeve was not people who don't wait to get off the train, and we're going to get to yours. But first, I want to know it's summer still. So, Harry, what is your favorite holiday destination?
Oh, it's easy, Soph. It's easy. Cyprus every day of the week. The best climate, the best food, and I would say the best beaches in Europe. So, yeah, what more do you want? Cyprus it is.
Yeah, I love it. Brilliant. Your favorite summer beverage?
Oh, I know people probably expect me to go for an alcoholic one, but I love lemon Fanta in the summer. I don't know why. There's something about it. The yellow can. Yeah, lemon Fanta.
Are you sure it's not the old commercial, the Fanta girl? Do you remember those?
No, it's
Fanta,
not that. I do, yeah. But literally, it's a proper summer drink. Like I would never drink it at any other time of the year. So
love it.
Definite.
Even though you love your Cyprus, what's your favorite spot in England in the summer?
Oh, I'm gonna say London. Like there's London when the weather's nice and everybody's out and about, and it's buzzing. It's a beautiful place to be. So I've tried some of the British beaches. I'm sorry, but they don't live up to Cyprus. If we're being honest, so I'm gonna stick with London.
It's no Gonos.
No, it absolutely isn't.
All right, Harry, away from football, your favorite actor?
This was a tough one. Initially, I wrote down Robert De Niro, and then I changed it to Leonardo DiCaprio, because I was sitting there and I was thinking, I can't think of one bad Leonardo DiCaprio film. Now, there probably is some. Maybe I haven't seen them. But for me, so many of the best films I've watched over the last decade have had him in them. So I'm going to go Leonardo DiCaprio.
Nice choice. Nice choice. Nice lad as well. Worked with him years ago. I looked after him on Titanic for the UK tour with my team at Fox, and he was so young and he was overwhelmed by what that movie had done to his career. Not quite sure he liked it, but he's definitely been enjoying the kind of films he's been able to make since. Favorite actress?
Again, this is a tough one. But another actress that I don't think I can't think of too many bad films that she's been in. I would say Julia Roberts. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I watched a film my wife was watching a film the other night that she was in, and I caught the last hour of it. So I'm going to say Julia Roberts. Yeah.
Can't argue with Julia. Classic. All right. Your favorite band?
Oh, this is tough. I'm going to put it out there. I listen to way more Greek music than anything else. So this was tough for me. I'm going to say Bon Jovi. I know it makes me sound like a right old man, but yeah, they got a few bangers. A few bangers.
I can't wait for Tom Canton to hear that one. That's going to be good.
He'll tell you some house music or something. He'll probably be some DJ with his computer or something.
Yeah, definitely won't be laying you down in a bed of roses. That's for sure. No. Your favorite ever song? It's got to be a Greek one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for Thexanagabiso Kazanjis. That's my
wow. Tune. Translate that for the listeners. Poetic.
Oh, when you translate it sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? Like, I'm not gonna love again. Like, it sounds terrible. But brilliant. Yeah, it's a proper whiskey song, that one.
I love it. Mine's Rosa, classic.
Yeah, banger as well.
All right, Harry, your favorite food?
I was going to be broad and just say suvla, like barbecued meat, but that's a little bit that's a little bit too broad. So I'm going to go for macaroni do forno. I'm going to go for, which is like a Greek pasta bake with bechamel sauce on the top of it, if you call it that.
Very good choice. Very good choice. Andrew, by the way, this is what we do on this show. Okay. We talk about football, and at the end, you get to know your podcasters. Calm down just a little bit. Take a Xanax or something. Actually, don't. I'm not prescribing anything.
Yeah.
Favorite thing to do outside of football?
I would say socialize over food. I think that's what I do best. I think stick the barbecue on, have your friends around, and yeah, just catch up.
Very nice. Your current favorite TV show?
Don't judge me on this. Cobra Kai.
Listen, there are a lot of folks out there that would be agreeing with you.
Yeah, look, I know it's rubbish, but it's the best rubbish TV show that I've ever seen. Like, I don't know why I watch it, but it pulls me in, and now I've got to wait till November, I think, for the next series.
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of Karate Kid and the Ralph Macchio movies,
that's what it is.
You know, finish him. The nostalgia. Cobra Kai is, well up there. The
Yeah.
first season was really good, but then it did go downhill after that. Okay. Andrew will be happy because we're switching back to football a little bit here. Your favorite away stadium?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to say Anfield. There's just something about Anfield. These old historic grounds, you turn up at places and sometimes a place has got an aura. And the first time I went to Anfield, I really, really felt it. But the last time I went to report on the game, and I sort of walked out into the kind of the gantry area, I just looked around me and I thought, wow. So yeah, I'm going to go Anfield.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. There's no doubt. So I love the history, and you feel it, don't you? You just feel it kind of walk into. All right, your least favorite stadium, but take your rose-colored glasses off, okay?
Okay, least favorite stadium. In terms of the stadium itself, I'm going to say Goodison Park. Like, I've been there as an away fan a few times. I've always had a rubbish view. It's a long old drive. It looks like it's about to fall down. That's why they're building a new stadium. So I'm going to go Goodison Park.
Lee chose Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Crystal Palace, so I didn't want to say that, but this is of a similar vein in terms of its condition, shall we say.
Yeah. Okay, rival fans you can stomach.
Manchester City, I just don't feel anything towards them. Like, it's not like the Manchester United rivalry, which is steeped in history, where it got really, really nasty. I don't feel that towards Manchester City. And that's weird because we're up against them head to head right now. But I don't have that fire in my belly when it comes to kind of exchanging views with Man City fans that I do when it's Man United, even though we haven't competed for the title together for 20 odd years. Like, yeah, it's Man City. I just feel meh about them. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna put them there.
Interesting. All right. Rival fans you can't stomach for a second.
Oh, this one's easy. Because in North London, there's far too many of them for my liking, and that is Tottenham. The way they talk about their club and the way they think like they deserve to be seen like trophy after trophy when their history, at least in my lifetime, has been basic at best. At Spurs fans, they're just so arrogant, and there's nothing there to be arrogant again about. So yeah, I'll go with them.
Does it remind you sometimes of the Greek relative who comes over for souvla and they're just humisharias? They're
Like,
and what is it? Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a nice barbecue set. Mine's double the size. That kind of person. But he's coming from a place of insecurity.
Totally. All right. Best stadium food. And you can't include here the catering in the press box. Yeah.
Okay.
Although you could tell everyone what your favorite. Do both. Why not? They'll love to know. They'll love being a fly on the wall.
Press box food. Arsenal and Chelsea are competing for the number one spot, I would say. On that. In terms of fan food, I'm going to go with AFC Wimbledon. Went there a couple of times, not last season, the season before, to cover games. And there's like a kind of like a market behind the stadium down one side where they have all of these like street food stalls, but it's once you've gone through with your ticket that you can access that. And they just do such an amazing choice. and it was reasonably priced for stadium food as well. So yeah, I'm going to say AFC Wimbledon.
Wow, nice one. That will make my friend Dan Rutstein, who's the EVP of Orange County Soccer Club here in the USL, very happy. He's a mad Wimbledon fan. Okay, this is my favorite one. We'll get you out on this one, Harry. What are Harry Symeou's pet peeves?
Right, so I've got one massive pet peeve. I'm normally quite chilled out. I don't normally get rattled by a lot of things, like in terms of what other people do. But one thing I hate is when people scratch their skin over their clothes. So like, say, for example, my arm was itchy here. I need to lift up my sleeve to scratch it. If you're scratching on top of your clothes, it just makes me shudder. It makes my teeth hurt. Like, it makes my head. I can't do it. I don't know how people do that. It's the most irritating thing in the world. I know it shouldn't irritate me. It shouldn't bother me. But my wife does it all the time, and it really winds me up. And like, sometimes I have to turn away because it just seeing it annoys me.
Oh my God, I love that. I love it. I love this question. It's my favorite bit to ask everyone. Do you have another one or that you want to share, or is that just the main one? Lee's was he just can't stand it when people don't wait for you to get off the train, right? So when he's at the platform, he just thinks, why can't you just wait? You know?
Yeah, I've got the scratching one is the big one for me. The other one I hate is when people put their feet on the train seats. Like, what are you doing? Like, someone's going to sit there in a minute. Like, especially when it's like raining or like the other day I got on the train and there was this guy, and I think he must have been a plasterer because he was just covered in plaster. And like, he just ended up like putting his feet up on the seat, his boots, and they were filthy. And I thought, who's going to go and sit there now? Like, that winds me up a lot. But Judges is right. That's another one.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff from Harry Symeou. I love it. Thanks for sharing a little bit of you with me. What else would you like to leave the squaddies with today? We always give our guests the last word. And well, I kind of say something after, but what is your last word today, Harry? What do you want to leave the squaddies with tonight?
Just enjoy the new season, guys. Don't obsess about the transfer window. Let's just go. We've got more than enough within our ranks to go on and do this. And if we get players in, it's a bonus. If we don't, then let's get behind the boys and enjoy it. Because one thing I can say is, even though I've ended the last 2 seasons with heartbreak, I really did enjoy the journeys. Like, really, and it's made me realize that the end result is important, of course, but the journey is important too. So make sure you enjoy it for sure. Yeah,
brilliantly said. I'm the same. I really enjoyed the journey, and hopefully it'll end in silverware this season. Thanks to Harry for joining. Harry, what have you got coming up? Let the kids know.
Check out the Chronicles of a Gooner pod. We're daily now. So if you go over there, you'll find it. It's on YouTube, all the usual audio places as well. And you can follow me on X. And I'll be at the Arsenal game on Sunday. And yeah, back into the swing of things now with work. So it's going to get busy again, but I can't wait.
Love it. Okay, you guys. So I've got a couple of shows to post that I've pre-recorded, and just quickly before we go, the new series Showbiz Squad that I promised is coming. I recorded the first episode with the director of Find Me Falling, Stellana Gliris, Greek Cypriot filmmaker, and I thought I'd announce it with Harry on. It's had 350 million views. It's really amazing to see this woman and her movie with Harry Connick Jr. doing so well. So I'm excited to share that with you. And then coming up, don't say I don't do nice things for you, but Jennifer Esposito will be coming on the show to talk about her new movie, Fresh Kills. And I can't wait for that. I've been a massive Jennifer Esposito fan from the days of working with Spike Lee. And of course, we know her from the Oscar-winning movie Crash, among other great films. And she's written, directed, and produced this. So Showbiz Squad coming to you. Kids, have a good day. Harry Moore, thank you so much. I know you have to bounce.
Thank you.
Enjoy. And I will see you next week. Take care, kids. And until then, at ease, squaddies, at ease. And don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. And happy Dicky Bow Thursday. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear. of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad,